which promises to be a stimulating and enlightening exchange of ideas and perspectives. As we gather here today, I am reminded of the importance of academic exchange and our mutual understanding and build trust between our peoples, paving the way for greater cooperation in various fields. However, we cannot ignore the challenges that exist in our academic exchanges, particularly in relation to difference in fundamental values regarding freedom between China and European countries. As we engage in discussion on these important topics, we must remain committed to fight academic freedom. I hope that today's event will serve as an opportunity to explore the ways in which ChatGPT and AI can contribute to advancing our shared goals of innovation and progress, while also addressing the challenges and opportunities that come with it. What do you think? I was out of time today, and I asked ChatGPT to write the speech. Maybe you noticed.
Oh, you stole my idea.
Yeah, a little spoily, I understand. Maybe I thought somebody else did. I think a lot of you nerds probably already played around with ChatGPT. Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. I mean, it's really fun to play with. But I think, yeah, maybe we're not yet there. Maybe it's still a few years before I get replaced with a robot who's like, welcome to the consulate. Thank you very much to EURAXESS and the DAAD for arranging this event. We're very glad to have all of you here, and I look forward to a brilliant exchange of ideas. And yeah, I'm really curious to learn more about this topic. And we're at the beginning of this fantastic journey through the future with AI, and we just had some discussions already about opportunities, but also the Terminator crashing through the door and ending all of us. Yeah, on this happy note, thank you all. Have a great evening, and I guess I give it back to you, Halder. Or?
Yes, I have the pleasure to introduce next my co-moderator, who will then introduce me. So we have this perfect little setup. So just before we get to that, I would like to. No, okay. I would just like to say that we changed the agenda a little bit today. There was like a cancellation, so we will not have with us Ole Döring like we originally have planned, but instead we have with us speaker Eva, who's going to be talking about ChatGPT and AI and so on, and we'll see if we move into that slot instead. So if you were like planning around our schedule, now you're aware. Let me introduce my partner in crime here today, Melanie Spetze from the German Academic Exchange Center and a DAD lecturer at Sun Yat-sen University.
Thank you so much. Also for me, really a great evening. Welcome to tonight's event. For the people that don't know me, my name is Melanie Spetze, but I think a few of you know me from my previous posting at the DAD office of Beijing. And I just recently, in August 2022, moved to Guangzhou. And besides organizing fun events with Halder like tonight, I teach at the Sun Yat-sen University as a DAD lecturer. But enough for me. First and foremost, I do have to express my gratitude, number one, to the Consulate General of Germany in Guangzhou. Thank you that we can host this tonight's event here. It really elevates this type of event. And also, I must say, thank you to you and your team, because you guys have been the biggest supporters of the DAD and of our work that we do in the south of China. Thank you. Also, I have to say thank you to EURAXESS China. Halder, thank you so much that we can do this together again, because Halder and I, we have over the last couple of years, we have done quite a few projects together. And to have this doing again here in the south in Guangzhou, it actually gives me a lot of joy. So he came from Beijing. So even though I must say, to the site, it is hailing and raining, But in Beijing, I think it's worse. You guys are hit by a sandstorm, so maybe it's not too bad to be escaping this for tonight. So I'm really, really pleased to host this event together with you. What is tonight actually about for us at the DAAD? Besides the responsibilities that we have at the DAAD, what we're mostly known for, which is to grant scholarships to all disciplines and all academic levels worldwide, we are also promoting the internationalization activities of universities and research institutions. I'm quite passionate about the topic of science communication. What does this mean? Because if you know, we as academics, we know how important science communication is. It is important to give to others, what the new scientific findings, the newest data. And it is not so much only about to talk to your peer group, to nerd out with your other colleagues. It's actually also to give it to a much broader audience. And here there is a certain rule that applies. The more effective we do it, the better. And here, my long speech about, how do I do this now with ChatGPT and blah, we often kind of underestimate how difficult this can be to actually do it in a way that people that do not study our field will understand what we would like to show them. So I think this type of advancement in technology can be a fantastic tool and also a support. And why don't we use it to our advancement if we can actually do it and better our science communication abilities? And I don't know really about you, but when I check my social media feed lately, since a couple of months, like just already WeChat, I think we all noticed there's quite a buzz about ChatGPT. And I've kind of noticed when we did our announcement, it was still ChatGPT 3, so this is already old news, right? So we are kind of behind the time here. We should have written like ChatGPT 4. You can see it. People are so interested. They're scared. They're interested. They're fascinated. They try it out. It's everywhere, right? So this is why we thought we need to be actually we need to hit the nail of the time. We need to be talking about this. And that's why we do this today. So in navigating through this landscape of communication, I think we need to keep in mind that we want to engage a broader audience. And that's why I'm very grateful to have also Hazel here, because he is quite a nerd himself. And I'm looking really forward to doing the next step, which is, let's just jump right in and do a little thing with the workshop part. You are the master of ceremony for the next part, Haldo. The floor is really yours, and I am your assistant whenever you need me. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, and it's great that you guys are all here.
Thank you, Melanie. In addition to that, I'm also doing the talk tonight, so bear with me for 1 second. I want to, first of all, make sure that I'm able to click this. There we go. So that works. And then secondly, I would like to share the screen so the people online can also enjoy the amazing speech that I'm about to give.
And Halder, the cameras are in love with Melanie. So I think you need to turn it to you.
So this camera is actually AI camera. It better not though. You keep following some other people or whatever. There's a lot of AI things going on these days. So thank you so much again, Melanie. Thank you so much again, Jan. I really appreciate all the support. We are going to just go right into our main topic of the day, which is kind of kicking off the science communication training. On behalf of for us in EURAXESS, this is like the thing that we want to do, and I'm gonna like kind of explain how and why we're connecting this to ChatGPT in this case, or like language models, or more generally. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Halder Berg, and I'm from an organization called EURAXESS. It's a project from the European Commission, DGRDD, that is research and innovation. So it's like the European Commission, research and innovation. They're in Brussels. They are there running this big network called EURAXESS that helps researchers in and outside of Europe to sort of easily go and come and go to different countries and be internationally mobile. And the part that I'm working for is actually EURAXESS Worldwide, where we are trying to connect researchers around the world with the European research area. We've been in China for more than 12 years. I've been with the project for 8. We have a Beijing office in Beijing, and we are there to support people like you that are here today or online to sort of do all kinds of things. Mostly we want to give you information. We want to give you opportunity to create networks and connect with each other. But also sometimes we even try to do some training. So we have like something called the science communication training, which is a thing that we've been doing since 2020. We had to find something to do when COVID hit. So we started this. It was based on our science line, which is like science communication competition we've been running since 2014. And one thing that I realized in 2020 is that you cannot really do competition here about how to like perform and talk on stage unless you do some training alongside with it. And that's sort of how it all started. And this year we were just planning to do it like normally, just go ahead and do it like normally. But then basically anything that is called communication just got absolutely revolutionized. So like, I feel like it would be almost ridiculous to talk about how to communicate anymore if you're not going to talk about the new tools that do exist right now. So this is actually the starting point of where I'm going to start here today. See if this works. And it does not. In that case, I just need to go to this one, and then maybe, yeah, that will work. So I want to, all of our phones look like this. That's an ancient time. I think this is iPhone 5 or whatever. And they were like, they just invented like a whole new thing that was really, really cool, which was like, you could like write and it would just suggest the next word, right? It would predict what word you were going to say next. And there was like a party game, a drinking game. You would just like go into your phone and you would like just start with any word. And then you would always just pick the next word from here and see what comes out. And it was kind of amazing. I remember this back in the days, back in 2018 or whatever, that it would often end up being really good. It would make sense. So in this case, I started with the word every time, and I just started picking suggested word every time I could get a moment. I will let you know what I want to do, which I normally do, which is true. Then I said the German consulate. So obviously I've been talking German consulate lately, which is not something I normally do, but he had learned that, so that's really good. To get a moment, I will be there in 10 minutes. Okay, so that does not make a lot of sense. Anyway, this is a very small type of AI behind this, like a neural network. And it's actually, the reason why I'm pulling it up here today, the whole idea behind it is not very different from the GPT, like the transformers that we're seeing taking over everything today. What he's kind of doing is looking at the words before, 2 or 3 or 4 words. And he's also looking at a dictionary of words that he's like saved that you've been saying in the past. And he's like trying to guess. And that's basically all there is to GPT. I mean, like not quite. It's a little bit different, but the main difference is basically in the size of it. There was a paper that came out, I think in 2017, that was called "Attention is All You Need." And it was basically saying what you should just try to do is try to just like take this attention mechanism, that's the mechanism that looks back on the words that came before, and you just try to extend that a little bit. And that's basically what you need to get like a really good language model. And so that's what people started doing. And in particular, the GPT networks that we are looking at now, the first generation of, they were sort of started like following this line of thought. Not everybody was necessarily thinking about these things. I remember in 2017, I'm a little bit of a geek, like you said. And in 2017, TensorFlow was this framework that Google came up with. And it was all about convolutionary neural network, CNNs. I did one with my friend where we set it up. We could like recognize how to recycle like trash, and we were just having fun with it. It was something you could do right then. One thing that CNN were not doing really well with was creating language. It just didn't do it really well. It turned out that this was actually doing it a lot better. And what you needed was just like to extend the attention quite a bit. By the way, I'm not at all an expert in this, but thankfully we have an expert with us later that will we'll talk a little bit more about these neural networks. So what they basically did, that instead of looking at the last 4 or 5 words, the GPT-3 can look at 3,000 words basically. So I've been working a lot with GPT-3 lately. It's about 4,000 tokens. So it's basically this dictionary of ideas, almost like Chinese characters that they call token. And they can deal with 4,000 of it. So every single additional word is kind of looking at the words before and like trying to evaluate them. And now we're in GPT-4, and there's a special version of it that allows you to extend that attention up to, 24,000 words. That's incredible. It can basically be like talking and keeping in mind all of these things before. There's plenty of other things going on here. They very smartly do playing around with like other new technologies that they found, and they're also training it on amazing amount of data. I think like they say 45 terabytes of data, and you need that, and you need amazing power, like computer power to be able to do all that and so on. But like in theory, this is what's going on. And that takes us to basically, well, 2022, when we all found ourselves in front of a computer screen talking to our computers kind of for the first time. You are sitting in front of it, you ask it a question. It looks a little bit like a chat program, like WeChat. You just say something and it will say something in return. And it did not really strike people as really interesting until you continue the conversation, and it kept making sense. And that was really, really interesting. So the first thing that comes to your mind is like, hey, this is probably just like copying something that has heard before. But then you find out, hey, no, you can tell them something new and it can understand it and can apply that. And it can like connect dots and it can like infer things that, you know, it's just not, it doesn't exist online at all. It just like understands that like, if this is like this and this is like that, then this must be like this. And this just kind of like changed really how I even think about how I'm thinking. And I was like, oh, maybe language and memory and all of these things in our own brain is maybe much more connected than we thought. If this is enough to create something like GPT-3 and 4, then maybe that's a little bit how we work. So you were like, oh my God, I am working with something that might be alive. And then I'm like, not really though. It's after a while, at least for me, the mental model in my mind is like just like accepting, hey, maybe inference is not that human after all. Maybe doing something like this is just not necessarily a human thing. Just like I don't know, like creating calculations or whatever. It's not necessarily something that only humans can do. We can actually put that into a machine. It's like a beast of an inference machine that can like do all these different inferences. And that is a totally new thing. And that's something that we need to get used to. It's here to stay, and it's scary. It's probably one of the most powerful tools that have come around since, I don't know when, since the internet, maybe even, you know, further back. And like any tool, tools are dangerous. They can be used as weapons, and we have to be aware of that. But I think that the best thing we can do is to right now, familiarize ourselves with this, understand it. Understand how we want to be using this. That's what I think. I'm not speaking on behalf of the European Union here. me sort of speculating in this case. I think like the best way to introduce GPT, I'm sure almost all of you have already taken a look, but in case somebody hasn't, the best way to do it is just to go there with somebody and just start talking to them and show them how you've been using it. I thought that would be a kind of boring thing. It would take like 3 or 4 hours, so I didn't really do that. But I wanted to mention some things where it's like really showed usefulness for me, and I think could apply to anybody that is in academia already, where it's kind of really, really good. So first of all, tailor-made studying. It's basically, for example, if you're studying language, you can just like set them up and say, I want to learn like HSK4 vocabulary thing. We want to talk to them about my favorite TV show, Friends, and please teach me how to use the le in Chinese or whatever, and you know, and he will just do it and like, please like fix it when I do it wrong or whatever. Or if you're an academic, one of the big things that you need to be doing constantly is trying to utilize and take use of new tools, right? Learn new software and so on. This is kind of difficult, takes a lot of time. It's never been easier. I mean, like just creating this, I was like asking him, how do I make slides go automatically or whatever? And he'll just teach you how to use PowerPoint. It was really useful because I don't know how to use my PowerPoint. It's also super good at summarizing content. There was a guy that came yesterday to me and said, have you read this book, something about genetics? And I was like, no, I haven't, and I never will. Life is way too short for me to read this book. And it's probably bullshit, I don't know. I don't know. You as an academic, how much are you reading like scientific articles like every week? I bet a lot. Let's say 20 or whatever. What if you could like add like 100 to it, that you could like kind of like summarize it to increase your academic peripheral vision, kind of, just to understand a little bit better what's going on. What you can actually do is that you can say, here's this paper, can you tell me like in 2 paragraphs what it's about? And then that's not enough, obviously, so that's not very academic of you. But then you could like be critical. You can ask him, so like, what is the most controversial thing about the theory here, in your opinion, Mr. GPT? Or what is the thing that is like really new or not new or whatever? You'll like have the conversation with you. And this is probably a brilliant way to synthesize a lot of information. One thing that I've been doing quite a bit is search and analysis. But by the way, ChatGPT is based on GPT-3. You don't need to use it inside of here. You can use it through the API. So I connect it to my own programming and I make it search Google for me. So I will say something like, hey, can you please search Google for every head of, no, like every company in water treatment management and just find them all. Searches for like 5 minutes, finds a lot. And then I say, take this list of companies and find the contact information. We'll do this as well or whatever. I mean, like this is research, right? It's what's going on here. If it's also a language problem that you're dealing with, like where are these people from? Or, you know, like what is the sentiment in this thing or whatever? That's also something you can do, and you can scale it up and you can do it in a way that you've never been able to do before. Obviously, it's going to be your job as academics to figure out what's reasonable here though, right? But not using it would be kind of crazy, in my opinion. Then I've been using it a lot for programming, right? So right now you can basically, if you know any scripting, and if you're a researcher, you better know some, like how to automate some stuff, right? So if you know any scripting, you also probably know how tedious it is to debug things and try to figure out how to do a new project and whatever. All the most difficult parts of programming have been kind of solved for you right now. If you're, for example, I have a project later that I will show you where you start with, where I had to set up a new Flask server, which is something I've never done before. So I just told him, can you please create like a very basic rough outline for it? And he just did it step by step with me. I remember last year I was doing a similar sort of project. It took me 2 to 3 weeks. It took me 12 hours in this case. That is huge improvement in how you can kind of do these things. Clearly, I think this is also something that academics can take advantage of. Then there's probably the thing that is most controversial, at least at the beginning in December. It can write for you, right? You can write. And we're wondering, what about students? They will not know how to write anymore. I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys to decide how you feel about that. But I think any good professor has a writing assistant. So why not you? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Like this is also for a debate. Clearly, it will not write anything on its own. It needs your input, you know, to be able to say something. So there's also the translation part. It's an excellent translator. It can explain like a concept in a new way because but you know what I found also really good? It does not only translate language to language. There was like this Twitter tweet the other day. It was like from somebody financial dude in America. And he was like laughing about some joke about something. I didn't understand the thing of it. So I was like, can you please explain this joke for me? And I was like, oh, like these guys should be risk averse, but they are saying something. I was like, oh, I get it. I basically translated for me the lingo of somebody else, you know what I mean? This is something that is like also falls into translation in my mind. And I was like, that is really useful. I'll absolutely take advantage of this. But it could also be like, it could be like technical jargon. It could be like other things that are like a hindrance or for you to actually understand something. Formatting and citation. Anybody that works in academia is probably spending about 50% of this time cleaning data and stuff like that. For today's event, we had to export the list of registrations from the European Union's website. And somehow they disabled the Excel exportation function. So there's no way to do this. There's no way to do it. I couldn't do it. And they even did it in a way where it's like no way to copy paste it either or whatever. So I just put ChatGPT and said, can you please put it into a table with everybody here, and just created a table with everything, with all the information, and just spit it out and cleaned all the data. And it took not a moment, you know. Don't tell the European Commission I want them to fix this feature, but but I am fine. I'm fine. And that is the last thing. Sorry. All right, this is my people.
They just did that. They did it today. Like today, we have that function.
Oh, for God's sake. Right, that's good. Then you like the ghost in the machine. I've forgotten about you. Then it comes to the last part here. This is what I want to actually talk about here. It's kind of benign and easy to speak about. It's the science communication. And this is what I care about. It's being standing up and talking about what you do in a way that explains to people why it's important. And it can be quite difficult, and a lot of people are not very good at that. I think something like GPT can help you to get better. So we have developed a tool that will sort of like go through that a little bit in this edition of our science communication training. I want to talk about a couple of things that I'm not sure if everybody has gotten yet about GPT. The main things to use it. It's not necessarily only talking to it like this. Like I said, it has API access that is really, really good. Allows you to throw a novel data at it, which is something that it cannot do here. So whenever you're saying, oh, but it just made some bullshit, whatever. Yeah, that's because it didn't read, it doesn't know, you know. It's like being able to speak and talk does not mean you're knowledgeable, right? So if you want him to say something about something that he's supposed to know, you need to give him the information, like make sure that he has access to that. So you can basically feed him information. If it's outside of the 4,000 tokens, you can do something called fine-tuning models. This is something you can also do. You can like tune your own model with extra information. And then finally, the thing that I'm going to be doing later with the science communication training is the prompt engineering, where you try to direct it through sort of like the right questions and get him to do the thing that you want him to do. Let's get to this. This is basically the whole thing that we are going to be doing with our science communication training next for the first episode, which is going to happen at the beginning of April. I feel like a lot of the people that are here today are not necessarily coming to the science communication training, but they're like people online that are actually going to that. And but the thing that we have with us right now is we developed a new tool called Science Slam Brainstormer based on the GPT network that allows you as a scientist to like kind of fill out this sort of template, and it will sort of create a script for you that you are able to use to start your science communication journey. I find here in China that a lot of the times people are struggling with English, obviously. So if you want to do international communication, that's difficult. But also creating sort of like answering the right questions when you're trying to talk to general audience can be tricky, because you're not supposed to be super technical about it, right? You're supposed to hit like certain tone that makes sense to people. And we try to create a template that allows for that. It starts step by step by just asking you simple questions. You fill in what is your role and what is your research. In this case, it was like environmental engineering. You can do like, you can tweak what kind of style you have, like professionalism, inspirational. I want to be like, forsaken, very inspirational. And then it basically has like 4 basic questions. And it's basically like, what is your research about? And then it asks you, why is that unique? And then it asks you, what is the reason this is important to you? And it's almost not something I never hear from researchers, but it's extremely important if you want to explain to people why they should care about your research. And then finally, how can this affect people's life? And this is just, you know what happened here? You're filling this out and you're going to get this cool GPT-3 script. But what's actually happening there is that I'm kind of tricking you to think about your research in a way that helps you to understand a little bit how I want you to talk in front of the public. I want you to be answering these questions. I want you to be thinking about how you would answer these questions if you were put on the spot. And then I want you to be structuring your speech around that, like these things. We're not talking about anything long, only 2 to 3 minutes. Then you click here, it takes a while, you'll think for a bit, thankfully, I pre-recorded this, so it's absolutely not going to work. But it's a tool that is available online. And everybody in our science communication training will get this. I know ChatGPT is not available in China, but you will be able to get this for free if you're registered for our event. And you will get the script that will be spit out here. And obviously, this is not going to be the script that you're going to be using. Our next event is going to be about how you can make this your own. This is a first stepping stone. This is for you to think about how can I start, like what is sort of the tone and how do I want to do my thing? And then you will actually fill it out with information about yourself and like the things that you want to speak about. But hopefully it will sort of show you, if you do it a couple of times, it'll show you that it's actually pretty good at hitting a certain like tone and explaining in a certain way, how to say, communicate in a certain way that might not be so useful to you. So in the end, I hope that this will be a good way for people to just like, first of all, start practicing their science communication. They will have something to work with, but also to make them think a little bit about their own writing and how they want to be doing that. So that's the whole point of this tool. We're going to be using this, and it's going to be for everybody available. So if anybody in this room here today is not part of the science communication training, if you want to get access to this, you need to register. Or I can also tell you a rewind later how to get it. I don't know if you see it starts like a classical. It's not the best speaker ever, but it's pretty good. It starts here. Good evening, everyone. We have come together this evening to talk about an important topic that faces us all: carbon capture. Well, I'm sure at least some of you here have heard of carbon capture and might even know a little bit about what that is. But let me start by giving everybody here some primer and some context. I mean, like, these are good practices. This is how you're supposed to be talking to people, right? It's good. I hope that this is going to be helpful for those that are trying to get better at science communication. And this is precisely what I want from these tools. I want them to make us better. I want empower us to do things better, you know, like, and if that's something we can do, that would be really, really excellent. Next one. I wonder when AI is going to fix this for me. There it is. Okay, so the webinars that were coming up, because we're kicking this off today, hardly counts, it's just a kickoff event, but the first one is going to be about how to unleash your creativity, how to make a script completely yours. So we're basically saying, take the script, make it yours. Number 2, charisma is a key, master the art of captivating presentation. So my colleague Anna, who is also with us here online, she's been working really hard on getting really excellent trainers about how to present effectively and so on. And then last one is lights, camera, science. How to shoot a compelling 2-minute video using only your phone. And that's where we're going to make people sort of like try out what they've been learning. By the way, how do you like the titles? This was all ChatGPT. I think this one's pretty good. Lights, camera, science. I would never come up with that. That's a good one. I hope it's not stolen. How would I know? Voila. Do I need to stand somewhere? I might. Let me see. There we go. There we go. So people that participate in our events are going to get certification depending on how far they go. Silver certification for people that come to some of the events. The gold certification are for the people that will hand in, like basically to finish the whole thing. And then the final one, the diamond certification, are for those that send in our videos and want to participate in our science land that will take place in May. We're planning that in Beijing. We'll select like 5 finalists around China, fly them to Beijing to participate in our finals. So that's the EURAXESS Science Slam. We've been doing that since 2014. We have a lot of success, a lot of amazing communicators coming through this. It's a 10-minute scientific talk where researchers compete to present their work in front of a non-expert audience. And basically this year, we're going to be doing it through the science communication training. The people that participate there are sort of qualified to be eligible for the final competition. This one. Yeah, I already explained what it is. The point is try to take your science and make it really fascinating. We all know, I don't know, do you know? We are big believers that being able to communicate your science is a huge job of a like scientists work. You should be able to explain to people, and especially policymaker, but also the public, why what you do is important. So we feel like this is like has meaning outside of just the competition, but it's a great like opportunity to sort of to practice that. And it's open to all China-based researchers, any field, any research career states. We have like anybody that's doing research is welcome to participate. And it's going to take place in Beijing. And we have previous winners here. And the reason why I put up this slide is because we have Alvaro. Need time, huh? There he is. I see his picture. I'm going to introduce our next. There he is. I can hear you. I can see you unmuted yourself.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Very good.
Perfect.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, thanks a lot for Haldor, Anna, EURAXESS, and the German Consulate for organizing this event, and thanks for inviting me here. So as Haldor has kindly introduced me, I was a winner on the Science Communication Slam organized by EURAXESS the other year. And it was a great experience. I personally, I'm a biochemist, and I'm currently working in Guangzhou. I'm sorry for not being able to be there in person. I missed the time for a week. I will be there in next week. But regardless, I've always been interested in the importance that people that work in public research, the duty we have to get all the people, the normal people, to know what the science we are doing is about. At the end, we are using, we try to help society, but a lot of times what we do is difficult for people to understand. And I think it's on us to make an effort to be able to get the people to know what we do. And I think that it helps in both ways, because then if the general public is more interested in research, our job is more easy. Science communication is something that traditionally was reserved for like people with like a team behind. We're talking about this big communicator, just as Carl Sagan, just as Neil deGrasse Tyson. But in the last years, thanks to a lot of tools that have appeared, thanks to social media, and now thanks to ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other new artificial intelligence tools, it's becoming easier and easier for a normal person with not a lot of experience in communication, in graphic design, etc., to be able to convey his research or her research in a very, very attractive and very fun way. And I think the idea that Haldor is having for this kind of training is great, because then this will give tools for people to be able like to hone their capabilities of communication. And I hope to see you there in this training. I think it's like a great opportunity, and like this participation in this is great. I don't know if Haldor, you want me to talk a little bit more about the process, or more than this. I think this is enough.
I think for now this is enough. We're going to have Alvaro with us in the first session in April, so we can go into the styles and the stuff that we want to do right then. So thank you so much, Alvaro, for that.
Thanks for you, and I hope to see you, a lot of you, in the near future.
And good trip back to Guangzhou.
Thanks a lot.
But Science Slam is not the only science communication competitions that we're involved with. We are also proud supporter of the Falling Walls, that is being organized here in China by the DAD often. And I would like to introduce back Melanie to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I'm gonna slowly put it back on.
I take away the clicker from you. Thank you so much, Haldor, and also Alvaro. I remember you winning actually the Science Slam. I think I was a juror there. Is that possible?
Yes, you were.
You were an excellent candidate, and I really liked your presentation. So there you go.
This one.
I'm also happy to talk to you guys to another opportunity for young researchers and entrepreneurs in China to be part of, and it is something that we call the Falling Walls Lab.
I'll take care of it. No, you just.
It only listens to you?
Yeah.
Here you go. I think it's quite widely known, but I still meet a lot of people that don't know. So what is actually the Falling Walls Lab? So this is quite a unique international science competition for young researchers, bright minds, to all disciplines. So this is important. Many people always think this is just for the national science, but no, it is for all disciplines. And it was originally initiated 2009 on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, hence the name. And the goal of Falling Walls is actually to foster discussion on research and innovation to promote the latest scientific findings to a broad audience of all parts of society. This is why I actually personally got so passionate about science communication. Next one. Next slide, please. Yes, so each year the DAD and also other research institutions host actually this type of Falling Walls Lab all over the world. And the goal is to showcase the quality and diversity and also kind of the passion of the region's most interesting people. And it's an international competition for young visionaries where they can pitch their ideas, their research projects, and also initiatives to a front of jury of experts as well as a huge audience. So if you take a look at this picture, this is actually where the winner of all the national labs will travel to, which is in Berlin at the Futurium. And yes, our winner, they have to be mentally prepared to face this. Next slide, please. In 2022, the lab has been actually held in over 80 countries, and it has been attended by like over 120 labs have been held. And we from the DAD, we hosted this lab also in several years in a row. So we've done it in Beijing, we've done it in Shanghai, and I'm really happy to announce, because I always think when you think about innovation and new research, it has to be in the south of China. So I'm so happy that we can do it in Shenzhen this year. And here again, we do it, of course, not alone. We do it, the Consul General of Guangzhou is going to be involved, and we are also hosting it together with the Shenzhen Technological University of Shenzhen. And I'm really happy that you're also here, so Professor Dr. Yan Pei-Xing. Thank you so much for being part of this project. Without partners, we cannot do this. Yes. So why am I pitching this? So I think this is exactly the people that I want to reach. I hope to see all of you in Shenzhen this year to our competitions, either you, your students, your mentees, spread the word, bring forward your best people. We want to see their ideas so we can send them actually to Berlin to attend the international competition. So the next slide. Here you go. So how does this actually work? What do these participants have to do? The tricky part about this is each participant only has 3 minutes to present their idea to the most pressing problems that we face in our time. And it is open to Chinese nationals, but also to non-Chinese researchers that are based in China. Okay, so all of you guys are welcome. One of the requirements would be you have to be at least 18 years old. So you guys have to be an adult. So this is the one of the requirements. And the winner of this competition, of the China competition, gets a ticket to Berlin to attend the international competition, but also they get a ticket to attend the Falling Walls conference. So this is a week-long conference where these people can get to engage, they can exchange with like-minded people of all over the world. And I think this is a very unique and very great opportunity to be part of. Maybe the next one. Here you go. So how does a pitch of 3 minutes might look like? I will not give you a pitch by me. I think, let me maybe showcase it on, too quick. Just a sec, you're too fast. Anyway, let me showcase
2020.
Just to introduce you guys to this bright lady. So this is actually a brilliant researcher from South Africa. Her name is Emichin Diko. She just got her PhD, I think, of a couple of days ago. So I'm very happy for her. So when she attended this, she didn't have a PhD quite yet. Yes, this is actually great to to get a PhD is actually quite, yes, that's worthy of an applause. And she was in 2021, she was the second runner-up. So she made the second place, and her pitch was on novel catalytic reactions. So if you're not a biochemist or something, then people are like, including myself, what? What is this about? Well, I'm pleased to present you her pitch that she gave 2021 in Berlin at the Futurium on exactly the subject.
One science breakthrough of the year, breaking the wall of darkness. Emichin Diko, Falling Walls Lab, Cape Town.
I need you to imagine trying to do everything that you do every day without energy. Or I'll ask you this. How far would you walk to charge your phone if you didn't have electricity in your home? Would you walk for hours, miles? Well, that's what millions of people in sub-Saharan Africa do to charge their phones daily. Over 1 billion. And in sub-Saharan Africa, more than half of the population remains in the dark. In contrast, California uses more electricity playing video games than the entire country of South Sudan overall. Clearly, there is a mind-blowing gap between the energy haves and the energy have-nots. It is important to pay attention to these metrics, as evidence suggests that there is a strong correlation between electric power consumption and the gross national income. As such, our sustainable development in global poverty must be preceded by intentional efforts to end the energy poverty. Now, my research in dye-sensitized solar cells is among the most interesting alternatives to conventional solar cells. Their design is inspired by photosynthesis, that good old process that plants use to turn sunlight into energy via the green pigmentation chlorophyll. But instead of the leaf, the cells start with a transparent film of titanium dioxide nanoparticles. The film is coated by a different range of dyes, optimized for specific wavelengths of light. When the sunlight hits, it excites the electrons in the dye. Movement of these energy-excited electrons through the nanoparticles, electrolyte for harvest, and then back to the dye creates an endless supply of energy, energy that is cheap, reliable, and relatively easy to produce. These new generation solar cells work impeccably under low light and non-direct sunlight conditions. So this means all year round electricity, no disruptions. In a recent talk, Bill Gates talked about investing in making energy cleaner and universally available is the most important investment that we can make for the world today. As we are approaching post-COVID economies and societies, we need to invest in these new technologies and systems. We are at the cusp of an energy revolution, ladies and gentlemen. During this time of crisis, when will we? Thank you.
So we are looking for the winner for China that can face this type of competition so that we can send to Berlin. But anyway, we can do the last slide, I think. I think the Falling Walls is not only just about winning a competition. It's also just an opportunity to connect with like-minded people, to learn from others who are also passionate about their work, and to break down walls that kind of separate the different fields of study, and also to explore new ideas, and all kind of under the umbrella really of science. And this is my part, and I hope so much to see you guys all in Shenzhen, or your students or your mentees. Thank you for your time.